The sun of Varinthia rose slowly over the crystalline forests, sending beams of light that split into 1,000 colors across the tall spires of the capital city. From her throne, Queen Xylaria looked out over her people, her long golden hair shimmering in the soft morning glow. She was the most powerful being on her planet, a warrior queen with unmatched strength and intelligence. Yet today, even she felt a hint of unease. A strange rumor had reached her palace in the night. A human, a being from a distant world, was on its way to Varinthia. Humans were fragile. Their history was short. Their bodies were weaker than any alien race. Their minds clever. Yes, but not enough to survive in the harsh worlds of the galaxy. And yet, the human was to become her husband. Ethan was his name. From the reports, he was ordinary. A man who had grown up on Earth, a planet the Varinthians considered simple and primitive. He had no title, no armor of strength, no skills in the way of battle. Yet diplomacy demanded his presence. The Earth Council and the Varinthian Empire had agreed to an arranged union to secure peace between their two worlds. The idea alone was shocking to Xylaria, who had always controlled her empire with absolute authority. When Ethan arrived, he stepped off the spacecraft with a calm expression, carrying nothing but a small satchel. His eyes were steady, not wide with fear, as many aliens expected. His body was lean, untrained for combat, yet there was a quiet confidence in the way he walked. He did not stumble under the gaze of hundreds of alien guards. He did not flinch when Queen Xylaria herself approached, her presence like a storm ready to strike. "You are the human?" the queen asked, her voice firm, almost like steel. Her golden eyes examined him closely, noting every detail of his posture, his expression, and the way his hand rested lightly on the satchel. "I am Ethan," replied simply. There was no fear in his voice, only a calm certainty. "I am honored to be here," the court whispered among themselves. Aliens who had never met a human stared in disbelief. Many of Xylaria's generals had already decided the human was weak, a mistake in the making. Yet the queen felt something unusual. There was a stillness to Ethan that was hard to read. It was not fear nor arrogance. It was quiet strength. The marriage ceremony was brief, formal, and filled with tension. Alien traditions required demonstrations of skill, and for the first time, Ethan would show if he could survive in this world. His first test was simple by Varinthian standards, a sparring match against a young palace guard. The guard was strong, well-trained, and armed with a short energy blade. He lunged at Ethan with speed that would have killed a human from Earth. Yet Ethan moved with careful precision. He did not attack, but he did not retreat either. He dodged, parried, and used the guard's momentum to guide him safely to the ground. The spectators gasped. He had survived, and more than that, he had done so with cleverness and grace. Queen Xylaria's eyes narrowed. "Impressive," she said quietly, more to herself than to anyone else. But one guard does not prove anything. Over the next few days, Ethan faced more challenges. He learned alien combat techniques quickly, not by force, but by observation. He watched how the warriors moved, how they predicted each other's actions, and he adapted. No one had expected a human to be able to learn so quickly. Even the queen noticed, her respect growing despite her unwillingness to admit it. But it was not just physical skill that surprised Xylaria. Ethan's mind was sharp, quick, and creative. When palace systems malfunctioned, when a strange alien creature wandered into the courtyard, Ethan handled it calmly. He did not panic. He analyzed, planned, and executed actions that even veteran warriors would hesitate to attempt. His human ingenuity was unlike anything the Varinthians had seen before. The turning point came during a walk in the palace gardens. The gardens were filled with exotic alien plants, some of which were poisonous to humans. A guard accidentally knocked over a container holding a small but dangerous creature. The creature's eyes glowed, and it hissed as it began to attack. Everyone froze. The guard stepped back, unsure of how to defend himself. The queen's hand moved to the hilt of her blade. Yet Ethan did not hesitate. He stepped forward calmly, observing the creature's movement. With a quick grab and a careful maneuver, he trapped it using only his strength and balance. No one had expected a human to act so fast, so decisively, and survive unscathed. The queen stared. For a moment she could only stare. This fragile human had done what even her elite warriors had struggled with. She felt a mix of shock and something new, curiosity. How could a human with such small, ordinary-looking muscles possess such control, such strength, and such courage? Over meals and discussions, Ethan continued to surprise her. He asked questions that were intelligent, pointed, and strategic. He saw solutions that Zalaria herself had overlooked. Slowly, the court began to notice the change in their queen. She no longer dismissed the human. She watched him carefully, trying to understand the source of his quiet strength. Yet not everyone welcomed Ethan's presence. Some nobles whispered in the shadows, "He is just a human. Do not be fooled by his calm." Others doubted that this marriage could ever bring true unity. But every time danger approached, Ethan proved them wrong. It was during a practice drill that the final demonstration of his skill occurred. Zalaria organized a mock battle, testing all the warriors of the palace, including Ethan. The exercise was supposed to show the human's limits. He was pitted against multiple opponents, each trained to test a single weakness. Ethan moved with patience and precision. He did not rely on brute strength, but on strategy, observation, and adaptability. One by one, he neutralized his opponents, using their own movements against them. He anticipated attacks, avoided traps, and acted with intelligence that the warriors had never seen from a human. The queen's breath caught in her throat. She could not look away. This was no ordinary human. This was a being who combined courage, intelligence, and a calm strength that surpassed many of her own warriors. After the drill, she approached him. "You are stronger than I expected," she said, her voice measured, hiding the awe she felt. Ethan bowed respectfully. "I only do what I must, Your Majesty. I serve you and your people." For the first time, Zalaria felt something she had not experienced before: uncertainty. How could a human, a being she had once dismissed as fragile, possess such skill, such courage, such quiet power? And yet she could not deny it. The day ended with the sun setting over the crystal spires. Ethan walked beside the queen, quiet and thoughtful. The people of the palace whispered among themselves, amazed at the human who could stand beside the most powerful warrior in the galaxy. As night fell, Zalaria sat on her throne, staring into the stars. She remembered the first time she had seen him handle the dangerous creature in the garden. She remembered his calm expression, his quick thinking, his courage. And she realized that the human she had married was unlike any being she had ever known. For the first time, the alien queen felt a hint of doubt in her own assumptions about humans. Perhaps they were not as weak as her people had believed. Perhaps strength came in forms she had never expected. And as she looked at Ethan sleeping peacefully in the guest quarters, she could only stare, trying to understand the quiet, unstoppable strength of the human she had married. The first part of their story was over. But the real challenges had only just begun. Something deep in the galaxy was stirring, a threat that no one on Varinthia could face alone. And when that moment came, the human's true strength would be tested, and the queen would see the full power that lay hidden beneath his calm exterior. For now, she could only watch silently as the human she had married prepared to face a world that had underestimated him. And in her heart, a new respect, and perhaps something more, began to grow. The sky over Varinthia darkened, a sign that trouble was approaching. Distant flashes of energy lit up the horizon, signaling the arrival of the enemy fleet. Queen Zalaria stood on the palace terrace, her golden hair swaying in the wind. Around her, the warriors of Varinthia prepared for battle, their weapons shimmering with energy. Yet even among these trained warriors, tension ran high. None had ever faced a threat like this. A rival faction bent on seizing the throne and destroying the human alliance. Ethan stepped beside her, calm as ever. His eyes scanned the horizon, noticing details that others missed: the speed of the enemy ships, the formation of their fighters, the subtle weaknesses in their attack pattern. "They are strong," he said quietly, "but they rely too much on numbers. We can use that against them." Zalaria looked at him, surprised. Even she had not expected a human to assess the battlefield so clearly. Her warriors were tense, preparing to follow her orders, but now they paused. Listening to the advice of the human beside their queen, the first wave of attackers struck with a violent roar. Alien energy blasts lit the sky as ships collided, and fighters leaped from the air to the palace grounds. The warriors of Varinthia fought bravely, but the enemy was relentless. Ethan moved among them with surprising speed and skill. He did not carry heavy weapons, only what he needed, yet he disarmed attackers, redirected their momentum, and used the environment to his advantage. He flipped over a charging warrior, using the alien's own strength to throw him into a barrier safely. He lifted debris to shield civilians from falling energy blasts. Every move was precise, controlled, and fearless. Xylaria watched in shock. She had fought countless battles, trained with the best of the best, yet she had never seen such a combination of courage, intellect, and adaptability in a single being. This human, her husband, was saving lives, turning the tide of the battle with nothing but his quick thinking and calm confidence. A group of enemy warriors broke through the palace defenses. Heading straight for the queen, Xylaria drew her energy blade, prepared to strike, but before she could move, Ethan intercepted them. He held his ground against multiple attackers, deflecting their strikes, dodging deadly blows, and countering with a combination of clever maneuvers that left the enemies off balance. The queen's heart pounded. For the first time, she felt that she might not need to fight alone. Ethan, a human, was protecting her. He was not just surviving the battle, he was mastering it. The enemy commander, a towering alien with armor that gleamed like black crystal, approached the queen. "Step aside, queen," he snarled. "This human is nothing. Your death will be swift." Ethan stepped forward, standing between the queen and the commander. "You underestimate him," Xylaria said to herself, her voice quiet. Almost a whisper, the commander lunged at Ethan with powerful strikes. Ethan dodged, parried, and used the alien's own strength against him, twisting and turning with fluid precision. Each move was calculated, every step deliberate. The enemy swung his massive blade again and again, but Ethan remained calm. Finally, with a clever maneuver, he used the commander's momentum to send him crashing into a wall, incapacitating him without severe injury. The warriors of Varinthia froze, staring. Even the queen's closest generals were amazed. This human had done what they had doubted possible. He had turned the tide of battle, protecting their queen, showing a strength that no one had expected from a human being. But the battle was not over. Enemy ships continued to fire, energy blasts tearing through the crystalline towers. Civilians ran for cover as debris fell around them. Ethan moved quickly, guiding the people to safety, using obstacles to shield them, and even lifting heavy rubble to clear paths. His human strength and intelligence were unmatched. At one point, a massive alien creature, unleashed by the enemy as a weapon, charged through the palace courtyard. Warriors drew their weapons, hesitated, and fell back in fear. Ethan did not flinch. He ran forward, dodging the creature's claws, finding weak points in its armor, and using the environment to trap it. With a final, clever push, he sent the creature tumbling into a containment barrier, securing it without anyone being harmed. The queen's eyes widened. She had faced countless creatures and warriors in her life, yet none had impressed her like this human. She realized that her assumptions about humans had been wrong. Perhaps humanity's true strength lay not in brute force, but in courage, intelligence, and the ability to adapt. Hours passed, and the battle raged on. Ethan continued to move seamlessly through the chaos, protecting civilians, aiding warriors, and taking calculated risks that no one else would dare. Every action earned him the respect of the court and the admiration of the queen. Finally, the enemy forces began to retreat. Their commander was captured, their ships disabled, and their morale shattered. The palace of Varinthia, though scarred from battle, stood firm. Xylaria approached Ethan, her golden eyes filled with a mixture of awe and disbelief. I underestimated you," she said, her voice soft. "You are more than I ever imagined." Ethan shook his head. "I only did what was necessary to protect you and your people." The queen's warriors gathered around, nodding in respect. Even the nobles who had whispered doubts could not deny what they had witnessed. A human, fragile in appearance, had turned the course of battle and proven that strength is more than muscle or size. It is courage, intelligence, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. That night, the palace was quiet. The battle was over, but the queen could not sleep. She walked through the gardens, thinking about the human who had changed everything she believed about her own species. Ethan sat quietly on a bench, tending to a small wound on his arm. Completely unbothered by the magnitude of the day, Zalaria approached him. "How can you be so calm after all of that?" she asked. Ethan smiled lightly. "I do not think of myself as stronger than anyone else. I simply act when it is necessary." The queen shook her head. "No human has ever done what you did today. You are not just brave, you are extraordinary." Ethan looked at her, calm and steady. "I only did what anyone should do for the people they care about. That includes you, your majesty." The words struck the queen in a way she had not expected. She had always believed that power and strength were defined by skill, size, and ability to fight. But today she had learned that true strength was something more. It was intelligence, courage, and a willingness to act even when the odds were against you. The following days were filled with recovery and reflection. The people of Varinthia rebuilt the damaged palace towers. The soldiers trained alongside the human who had changed their understanding of strength. Ethan continued to demonstrate skill, patience, and leadership, earning admiration and trust from all who witnessed him. Zalaria spent hours watching him, noticing small things, the way he helped soldiers with minor injuries, the way he calmly planned defenses, the way he treated even the youngest members of her court with respect and care. Each moment made her realize that she had underestimated humans in ways she could never have imagined in the privacy of her chambers. The queen finally admitted it to herself. Ethan was unlike any being she had ever known. Fragile in appearance, yes, but strong in ways that mattered most. His courage, intelligence, and quiet confidence had not only saved her life, but had changed her understanding of the galaxy. That night, as Varinthia rested under the soft glow of distant stars, Zalaria sat by her window, thinking of the human she had married. She could only stare in awe, realizing that she was witnessing the true power of humanity, a strength that no alien could ever measure or predict. The first wave of danger had passed, but the queen knew more challenges would come. And when they did, she no longer doubted that her human husband could face them in triumph. Ethan, meanwhile, remained calm and humble, unaware of the depth of the respect and admiration he had earned. To him, he had only done what was right. But to Zalaria and the people of Varinthia, he had proven that even a single human could surpass the strongest of aliens. Not by raw power alone, but by courage, intelligence, and the heart to act when it mattered most. As dawn approached, the queen whispered to herself, "I thought I ruled the strongest empire in the galaxy, but today I learned that strength can come from the most unexpected places, even from a human." And in the heart of the palace, Ethan slept peacefully, preparing unknowingly for the many adventures yet to come. A human whose strength had already left the most powerful alien queen in shock.